Because I heard like it's a little bit less time.
And we've got time for a...
Kevin, thanks. Well, among the league...
Thanks, David. Kenny, you played for a number of coaches in your career. Which players right now do you think, as you take a look at all the players in the league, would maybe make a good head coach in the future?
Well, LeBron would be a great coach. CP3 would be a heck of a coach, probably. C.J. McCollum plays a game because there's a guy. I like guys who weren't like the star and then became it because they understand the guys on the bench, how they feel, as well as the stars. So C.J. McCollum has kind of come up into that.
Well, that's why a lot of great coaches, it's not that they were the best player, but they played on great teams. So they get to see it. I'd throw another name up there, Rajon Rondo.
Rajon Rondo. Okay.
What about Greg Anthony?
That's the broadcast booth. No, Greg would be great.
He'd be great. I think either of you would be great.
It would be fun.
I'm trying to own the team.
That's what you want to do. You want to own. You want to own. And now the Golden State Warriors starters. They've got Marquise Chris. Klay Thompson is out there with Jones. Then it's Green, and it's Wiggins in at the 3. And for the Rockets, Westbrook and Harden, the dynamite pair. They're the backcourt. Robert Covington out there with Gordon. And it's Chandler in at the 5. The NBA being so much about entertainment, Kenny. If you had to choose the best showman in the league, who would you pick?
Ooh, the best showman.
With style and charisma.
Steph Curry.
Yeah, he'd be right up there, wouldn't he?
LeBron is a showman, but Steph is, I think, the top of the league. Giannis is a showman, but he's by grit, Harden, and maybe someday Zion.
I would go with that as well. The one thing that, the one reason that I have a little concern with Steph is we haven't, those other, like LeBron doesn't have to have a great team. He can make a team great. That's the one difference with him. I think Giannis can do that.
He made that team great before Kevin Durant got there.
No. Well, he's playing with a few other Hall of Famers. My point is, if you put him out there with guys who weren't all-star caliber players, that's my concern. We've seen, I'm with you, Giannis has done that, LeBron has done that. Steph's a showman in his current existence. And Luka, without a doubt.
All-time showman.
Oh, he's never rattled at the stripe. Always has that nice soft touch on his free throws.
And that one is off.
Their focus next trip has to be getting a high-quality shot. I mean, they don't want to start the game 0 for 5.
Jones in the post. He's covered by Westbrook. Count that one. Kenny, when you came into the NBA as a rookie, was there a veteran who stepped in to become your mentor?
My first coach, Bill Russell, was
was your mentor?
Yes. Which is even funnier. Like, the former players of North Carolina were my mentors. Because we played
some of those guys.
Michael Jordan, Sam Perkins, Walter Davis.
That's like a Hall of Fame class.
Yeah. I mean, all those guys were still in the league, and they would come back and they would tell stories about what it takes to be in the NBA and how you got to stay there. Right? So those were my mentors.
And you drank in every word.
Oh, every second,
Houston's gone 0-3 from three-point land. Nothing yet going outside. Here's Harden, and he drops it in from the low post.
Ooh, nice soft touch on the floater. You can run out of compliments to describe James Harden's game.
Jones up top. He's covered by Westbrook. The shot's good. Jones has got his second basket of the game. Well, no surprise that this team is looking at making a deep playoff run. They were a popular finals pick before the season began. And, Greg, they've done nothing but impress.
And Junior has been critical to the success of this team. He gives them that edge that all championship-level teams have to have. I can't wait to see them take it to the next level in the postseason. Second chance points always hurt. Just not enough effort to block out.
Yeah, that's what's frustrating because you did the job defensively to get the stop, and then you gave it right back.
And the Warriors decide to take their first time out here. They're lasting. And we've played just over a minute of basketball here in the second quarter. Kenny, when you first came into the NBA, your coach was one of the all-time greats, Bill Russell in Sacramento, coaching that time the Kings. Was it intimidating for you at all?
Yes. It wasn't intimidating because of his basketball stats. I was more intimidated because of his social consciousness stature of who he was as, you know, knowing Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, and that I was like, whoa. He was telling me stories so casually. So, you know, Martin and I, like Martin who? Martin Luther King. He's like, Malcolm and I, oh, Malcolm in the middle? No, Malcolm X. I'm like, wow, that blew my mind.
So for the Golden State Warriors right now, Draymond Green is out there with Chris. Then it's Wiggins. Then there's Klay Thompson. And it's Jones in at the point. Now let's go to the sideline and catch up with our Hall of Famer, David Aldridge.
Well, guys, we all know that there are some people who dislike James Harden's style of play. They're bored watching him shoot free throws. He said, I see how teams guard me and find ways to exploit it. I just outthink the game, and I'm faulted for it. Kevin, that may be, but it's hard to argue with the results. Back to you.
You're right, one of the top scorers in league history, David. Thanks for that report. Kenny, your career saw the expansion of the NBA as the league added several new teams. How did expansion change the league and change for the players when you were on the floor?
Well, probably Greg could answer this better because he had to move out of the country when expansion came in. With the Vancouver. So how did that feel? Leaving the country, not just leaving the state, but leaving the country.
And that's the point. It is different. Like, I mean, obviously it's still North America, and Canada's very close to us culturally, but it's still different. And the other big part was, you know, they knew about basketball, but it wasn't a part of their fabric. So a lot of times you were trying to educate fans to help them, you know, have interest in the game. So it was different, man, especially growing up as a kid. You know, I never dreamt of playing in Vancouver for the that never really entered into the equation.
Jones. And he lays it straight in. Jones has got 8.
And, guys, they continue to put a lot of pressure on the interior defenders with their work down low.
And what about our special guest? Kenny, thanks for taking the time to join us, dropping by. Always a pleasure. You add so much to the broadcast.
Man, thanks for having me. This is just great.
Thank you. And, Greg, a lot of fun to be joined by Kenny the Jet, huh? As brilliant as he... do it for the first half. A competitive game so far. Rockets lead by 5. And now we'll send it over to David. Thanks for the great interview, David. And we'll be back for the third quarter of basketball. And we're halfway through this one. Plenty of basketball left in a game that's been fairly even so far. You know, Austin Rivers has been exceptional here, guys.
No problems fighting his way to the rim in this one. A lot of points in close.
Yeah, slicing through the gaps in the defense. I mean, getting many of his buckets in the paint.
All fueled up and ready to go. Let's reset the lineups courtesy of Gatorade for the second half of basketball. And so in the game for the Rockets. Harden and Gordon are out on the wings. Chandler out there with Robert Covington, and it's Westbrook in at the 1. Rager, the all-time assist leader for the Big West Conference. In that frame, talk about some of the traits that make for a good floor general, a good point guard, a good facilitator.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you have to be a leader because that's what the position calls for. Unselfishness, instincts, that stuff matters. But ultimately, your teammates got to feel like you play for them. And that's when you have a chance as a team to be special.
I'm assuming you've always been like that. Am I correct?
No. That is not
really?
true.
Wow.
I evolved into a leader. In all seriousness, I think some guys are natural. Others, like myself, had to evolve into it.
Timeout called the Warriors.
Trying to find some answers offensively.
Bad shot selections, as well as some bad luck. I mean, that's not going to help you score points.
Warriors trail by 6. And keeping us updated from the sideline, let's swing it over to David Aldridge.
Thanks, guys. Junior, in his last outing against the Nuggets, delivered quite a performance. He dropped in 38 points, and he got those points as he always does, knocking down shots from beyond the arc. A very solid stat line for him in what was a terrific outing. And you know he wants to keep the momentum going, Kevin.
Thanks, David. Yeah, it was a special night for him. The team really fed off his energy.
Yeah, the catalyst for that win, it was an effort that I'm sure he's hoping to replicate tonight.
Yeah, right. Now, I'm sure he wants to come out in attack mode. The other key for him is to continue to get to his spots on the floor. Only 1 for 5 to start the half. I mean, whatever adjustments they made at halftime weren't the right ones.
And after over a decade with the Thunder, last season, Russell Westbrook starting fresh with the Rockets, a superstar pairing with longtime friend James Harden. And even with good coverage defensively that time, he has confidence to drill the three.
When you have a 4-man with this kind of vision and the unselfishness to go with it, unreal advantage. Draymond Green getting it done.
Westbrook kicks to Harden. Pass to Gordon. Three-pointer. Unable to get that one. So Golden State will take it the other way. And, Greg, there were some legitimate questions about Harden and Westbrook and how they would play together. Westbrook not the floor spacer they looked to put around Harden.
And that preceded their moves at the trade deadline. I mean, committing to small ball. Westbrook, the lone non-shooter from distance, unlocked, though, to attack the paint.
Jones against Westbrook. Left side, Jones.
He's forcing things a little bit in this quarter, settling for shots that he'd be better off passing up.
Shot by Gordon, wide open. Offline with his three.
He's lucky his teammates have picked up the slack for him. I mean, his shooting has been horrific.
Chris gets the bucket.
Huge hole in the defense that possession. He didn't waste any time cutting through it.
Timeout called, the Rockets.
Start.
Houston a hole. Setting the floor for the Warriors. Curry is out there with Jones. Then it's Eric Pascal. And there's Chris, and it's Green in at the small forward position.
It's been this way since halftime. Tremendous production from beyond the arc.
Yeah, and they aren't just chucking up anything. I mean, they're doing a great job of creating quality looks.
Curry finds Pascal. Jones, that's for two, and good, and it takes a nice bounce off the right iron and down.
Well, that's one way he can finish, but far from the only way he gets it done. He's got all kinds of tricks up his sleeve.
The pass to House. Out of bounds, Golden State takes possession. The Rockets making a switch here. Covington's checked in. Andrew Wiggins checked in for the Warriors. Warriors trail by 10. Jones looking for an opening. Pass to Pascal. Back to Jones. Lets it go from deep. Rebounded by Tucker.
And close to making the defense pay for the lax coverage that time.
Yep, that one goes in there. Rivers has got the lead up to 12 now for the Rockets.
They couldn't have asked for much more from him today. He's been a key force in their offense.
Out of bounds. Houston takes possession. So for the Rockets, Tyson Chandler. He's checked in for P.J. Tucker. Gordon comes in for Danuel House. And Russell Westbrook is subbed in for Austin Rivers. Draymond Green, he's checked in for the Warriors. Klay Thompson comes in for Curry. Outside Gordon. Poke loose. Wiggins with it, and it's Harden picking him up. Now the Warriors moving it up. Wiggins finds Jones. And the Warriors miss again.
He hasn't been able to find any kind of groove in his court. I mean, it seems like he's been running on fumes since halftime.
And it's Gordon missing.
He's done a lot of the little things to help put them in front. I mean, but his offense has not been there for him tonight.
It'll go. The Rocket lead is cut to just 9 on the basket from Jones.
And now he's starting to do good work beyond the arc. I mean, he had a drive first half, but now they're falling.
Jones against Harden. Shot clock at 6. lobbed up there for Chandler. Harden gets the bucket, and the Rockets lead by 11.
And that's just awesome leadership from Harden, demonstrating patience in a tough spot with the clock going up against him.
Timeout called the Warriors. Your son, Cole Gregg, was one of the top high school players in America. A lot of services had him #1. Talk about what it was like going through the recruiting process as a dad.
You know, it was fun for the most part because he really kind of kept everything in perspective. And the teams we dealt with, the schools we dealt with, man, they were all top-notch. So that process, about as enjoyable as one could ask for. But at the same time, it's still stressful, man. That's still your little guy getting ready to head off to college.
Well, you're a dad and a proud one at that. Jones for 3. The Rockets pull it in. Chandler's got his 8th rebound here tonight. And here's Gordon from outside. The Warriors pull it in.
His three-point game hasn't been there for him today, but don't sleep on him. At any moment, he could get his touch back.
On the basket by Jones.
And obviously his momentum from the last game has carried over here tonight.
Yeah, that's why he's hot. He's playing with a lot of confidence. That's why they're going to him with such consistency.
Wiggins against Gordon. Now, here is Harden, guarded closely. Kept alive, and a dunk by Chandler.
And we'll just watch the clock wind down, guys, in what will turn out to be a win here for Houston.
If they had to battle for this win, there were times when it looked like it was maybe slipping away a bit, but they never let that happen, which I thought was a real credit to them.
And that's a product of their mental toughness. Anytime the flow of the game turned against them, instead of caving, they just dialed it up a notch and were able to pull away.
And so checking out their record tonight, it'll mark win number 32 overall.
And they're going to bring this season series to an end with a very nice victory here today. These teams spent a lot of time on the floor together this year.
And what a tremendous standout performance it was for James Harden.
Wow, he owned this game. He never stopped working. He did it all for them, and you can't help but admire that kind of effort.
So he goes 2 for 2 at the line, and it's a 9-point ball game here.
Oh, you got to just have a sense of calm at the line. He has it here, and he just put the game to bed.
Jones drives in, and plenty of contact on the shot. So 2 free throws coming up. And there's the foul against Houston. So the first one drops, and that brings them within 8. And so Jones nails both of them. Guys, you've got to think a basket here would seal it.
No question. That would be all she wrote.
They get it again. Caboclo stolen away.
Not enough ticks left on the clock to save them tonight.
Well, it's tough, man. When you get to this point in the game, you fought hard, did your best, but just wasn't enough.
Checking in for your Rockets, Shake Milton. 16 seconds left to play here in the fourth. Here's Clemens, defended by Jones. First free throw is good, and that stretches their lead to 8. And so he drops them both. It's a 9-point ball game here. 8 seconds left in the game. Jones from outside. So Houston wins it. A confident win, and one where they clearly showed the greater effort.
Yeah, I mean, it was a solid performance, particularly here at home. And I think they built off that edge of being here and playing with just a little more confidence than their opponent.
And that'll do it, folks. For Greg Anthony, Chris Webber, and David Aldridge, this is Kevin Harlan. Thanks for watching the NBA, presented by 2K Sports. We'll see you later.